there. You know, then you have self-examination and self-conditioning. This I find a very interesting aspect to self-conditioning. When you're bodybuilding, right, and you're conditioning your body, do you start off with all of the weights at once? No, you start off with what you can handle, right? And when you're able to do those number of reps, and you've built your body to be able to do that, then you add in a little bit more weights. And when you're able to master that amount of weight, then you add in a little bit more weight. And this is what we can do also in terms of ourself. That don't expect that you're going to be an angel or a masoom or someone who's virtuous and eliminated all their vices overnight. What you do is you do it gradually. For instance, you say, I will not violate the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala today. When you have resolutions that, I'll never commit a sin for the rest of my life, that's a pretty tall order. But if you say, I'm not going to commit any sins today, that's something that's a bit more manageable. And today can become this week, and this week can become this month, and this month can become this year. So you put on the weights gradually. And you may, in the first few pushes, you may not be able to make it. But you struggle, you strive until you've mastered the day, and then the week. And this is something else that Shaitan tries to do, to play with your mind. He tries to make things more difficult than they really are. It's just suggestions. He has suggestions. But really, to eliminate vice and to acquire virtue is not as difficult as Shaitan wants to suggest it to you. It's easier than you think. Just do it. Then, when you are self-conditioning, there's also the step of muraqabah, which is guarding. When you are like playing basketball or soccer, and you have that field or arena, and you have certain gaps, you play guard. You look at where the opposing player is, and you play defense. And this is what we have to do within our souls as well. We have to find out where is the gap in our chainmail within our souls, and to defend that gap. It means also to stay on guard, and to realize that ideas in violating the divine command, are really ideas that come from Shaitan, right? And so, to play that guard is to realize that the suggestion that I have in my mind to do that which is wrong, that which is evil, is a suggestion by the Shaitan. To realize that Shaitan is the one who's whispering into your ears right now. And when you have that realization, you know who to guard against. So right away, you become aware of that. And part of that guarding process is to curse the Shaitan. I'm not going to let you get through. And then the sixth step is remembrance, tadhakkur, that we're in a state of now constantly remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we're constantly God conscious, that God is always there, God is always seeing. And finally, the last stage is to be thankful. That may not be as intuitive as at first glance, that we've gone from contemplation to the highest stage, which is to be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Well, let's look at it in perspective. When someone gives you something, are you not grateful? And if the value of that thing is greater, you're more grateful. And you begin to watch yourself in relationship to that person. If someone gives you the keys to a car and is not expecting anything in return, it's just out of love, will you want to, this is the person who's so generous. Do you want to, whether, before his face or behind his back abuse that trust and how you use the car, you know. And here is the Creator who's given you everything, the air that you breathe, you know, that's to be thankful. The senses that you have, the eyes, the ears, you know, can you imagine, you know, a life without that? Isn't that something to be thankful for? And ultimately, you know, here is the greatest, one of the greatest gift is the free will. That you have free will to do wrong, to do right, to be, you know, greater than even an angel who is just a robot and a programmed being. That you have that free will. You know, isn't that something to be thankful for? And so when you're in that state of thankfulness constantly of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you're always, you know, conscious, that you're always guarding, then you're always self-examining, then you're always struggling, then you always have that resolution, and you're always contemplating. And I leave with, you know, this quote. And you know, when I found this very interesting. You know, this quote also in 40 Hadith, where Imam Khomeini says, "Overpower and subdue the satanic band in this great war." So he's calling this an epic war. "And convert the spheres of your mind into the divine realm by driving out the satanic legions and inviting the divine hosts, so that God may succor you and protect you in the dangers threatening to befall you in the battle." So, you know, when I read this, I visualized, you know, some epic battle from Lord of the Rings, or, you know, one of these CGI movies, and that's taking place on the planes of our souls. You know, you have, for example, in the movie The Mummies, you know, these vile creatures or skeletons, you know, they represent evil, and you have the hordes of them. But then you have, you know, the army of righteousness in your heart too. So there's an epic battle that's being waged within. And so, you know, you want to invite the legions of the divine, and you want to expel and defeat the legions of shaitan. So, you know, ultimately, what's the goal? You know, what is the highest glory to be achieved? And that, you know, highest glory is shahada. Outwardly, you know, in the lesser jihad, it's for the body to be sacrificed and given in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But inwardly, there's also a shahada, which is for the nafs, for the self, to be sacrificed and killed for the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And here's where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Die before you die. Mutu qabla an tamutu." And with that, I'd like to open up the floor for any discussions, any thoughts, any comments. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.